Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well today. Just getting set up a little bit. So I fell off the wagon last night, and I'm still haven't climbed back on. So I got a little glass of wine with me tonight, today, whatever. So while we're waiting on people to join, I will remind you to go to coopedup.com. I post a lot of my shit there. You can just follow along. It's shit I like, shit I'm doing, shit I'm thinking about. Follow me on I'm Cooped Up at I'm Cooped Up on Instagram. And wherever you are watching or listening to this, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or on the podcast channel platform of your choice, be sure to find the bell and click on it so you can follow along. Hey, Mama. My mom is what? My mom always watches, but my mom is watching, and this is a particularly interesting topic today. So I'm going to be sharing the chapter highlights of a hypothetical parenting book that I've had. My friend Eric Torbenson, since like 2015, has been encouraging me to write a parenting book, an irreverent kind of in the theme of "Go the fuck to sleep" or whatever that book was called, parenting book, right? And he and I were going back and forth on Facebook, and Facebook reminded me of this conversation a couple of days ago about all of the different chapter titles and stuff. So some of these are original ideas, some of these are things that kind of I got from other people and all that. But this is, if I were to write a parenting book, this is what the chapters would be. This is the topics and all of that kind of stuff. So, hey Sam, and Mike is saying, Michael Dilger is saying that a sweater is fire. I love this sweater. I love anything that's just kind of like silly, fun, whatever. So thank you. It's Amazon. This thing was super cheap too. It's from Amazon's private label that they have. Good Threads, I think. Maybe it's just Amazon. I don't know. It's like $28. Love it though. Anyway, so I hope that you enjoy this. And this is meant to be for anyone. You don't have to have kids to enjoy this. So please don't be like, bitch, I don't have any kids. I'm not going to listen along. This is meant to be funny, irreverent. Don't take any of this too seriously. Not that I have to give you all a disclaimer about any of that. But here is the Cooped Up Guide to Parenting. So first of all, like the overarching, I really should have been standing up for this because I'm now not used to, I've been sitting up for so many of them. Now I'm sitting down and I'm used to moving around so much. The overarching message, if you take nothing else from my book on parenting, my hypothetical, yet to be published, yet to be fucking written book on publishing or on parenting, it is your kids are not your life. They are part of your life. I tell my kids all the time, anytime they're like, you're not paying enough attention to us or whatever, they don't actually do that anymore. But I always tell my kids, this is the fucking Cooper Koch show. You are a very, very important character on this show for about 18 to 21 seasons. And then you go off and you get your own spinoff, and you only show up on my show for cameo appearances and holiday specials. I got to keep this fucking show on the air. So this is my show. So I've always said I'm not going to lose my identity. I'm not going to, just because I'm a parent doesn't mean I cuss less. Granted, you understand that. Doesn't mean I do any of these things like less irreverent, anything like this. Like I am me, you are you, we are growing up together. That is what I say. So that is, if there is one thing you learn from me, that is it. You are not my life, kids. So anyway, that's kind of the intro to it. Y'all feel free to comment along as you're going on here. Chapter one, and I think these are in order, but I'm not totally sure. Stop making everything so much harder than it needs to be. Your punk ass kids don't notice. Basically, also, I'm like, kids' lives are magical as it is. They're already magical. You do not need to work so hard to manufacture magic. Imagine the world through a kid's eyes, right? Like everything is cool to them. So stop killing yourself. And also, parents lose their shit. It is okay to lose your shit. I wish I love that saying. I wish I had that one when my kids were young. Yeah, and these are universal. I say, Mike, it's okay to lose your shit regularly. Stop trying to be perfect. And also, every parent cusses in front of their kids. If your kids start cussing, call's probably coming from inside the house. It's not a neighbor, it's not a friend, it's not anything. It's probably from you. And that's okay. Just train them. So my kids know that, I mean, I've cussed around my kids since like day one. When Claire was young, one of her first things she said, she dropped something and she went, shit. And I was like, "Oh, where did that come from?" And I'm like, clutching my pearls. I don't know. I don't know. And then a couple of days later, I'm trying to let myself into the house and I dropped my keys and I went, shit. And I knew at that moment it came from me, right? And so my lesson to the kids though is, you know, that I'm not going to limit my words just because you're not allowed to say them. You need to know which words you can say and can't say, and where you can say them and where you can't say them. So, and you know, Todd doesn't love it, but sometimes my kids cuss in front of me already. Like, just it's in humor though. It has to be appropriate. It has to be a good punchline for a joke. It can't just be cussing for cussing's sake. It has to like make me laugh. And but they don't do it around Todd because they know that that's not an appropriate situation. They certainly don't do it at school or around their friends. But I think like being funny, and I have this written down somewhere else. Being funny is more important than being clean, perfect, or serious. Like I just think, and I think Elaine Liner, my friend Elaine Liner, is actually the one who gave me that line. I mean, if you can, if you can make it funny and you can make people laugh, you can get away with so much fucking shit, as evidenced by this, right? So stop making everything harder than it needs to be. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Your childhood is over. Stop trying to relive it, redo it, or fix it. It doesn't work like that. P.S. You're just making yourself and your kid, who is not you, miserable. So many, I mean, you see these shows, you see so many of these shows where it's like the cheer moms, or it's always the moms. I don't know why it's not dads, but it's never the football dads, but those exist as well. All kinds of, I mean, just people trying to relive their childhood, trying to make their kids cool because they weren't cool, that kind of stuff. I just, I don't get it. I don't get it. My sister is saying I'm 43 and I still don't cuss in front of our parents. Well, obviously I do because both of our parents watch this and they hear me cuss all the time. Funny enough, granddaddy, our granddaddy who died in 1999, March 3rd, 1999, he used to always joke. No, March 5th, I think actually is when he died. He used to always tell me, he's like, Cooper, you're so good at making a point without having to use cuss words. well, that obviously didn't last. Okay, chapter 3. Put your helicopter back in the hangar. You're annoying everyone. So that is one of those things that, and it was actually just an article, I think, on the Wall Street Journal. I read that every day, so I assume that that's where I get most of the stuff that I think about. That they've done research. There is no benefit to having a helicopter parent. It actually is not. It's actually to the kid's detriment in some cases, right? And so, and also, everything doesn't need to be a fucking teachable moment. You know who likes to be in school 24/7? Nobody. Nobody likes it. Sometimes just have fun. Don't make everything a teachable moment. You know, your kids know too. Your kids are like, ugh, they just tune out, tune out. And when everything's a big deal, nothing is. Everything doesn't need to be an act of Congress. So Sandy's saying, cuss words make it all more dramatic. I agree. I mean, there is nothing better than a well-placed cuss word, right? I mean, I'm not saying do it in the State of the Union address. I'm not saying do it when you're actually, it probably would have worked really well yesterday with the president telling people to go home. Get the fuck home. Have you lost your fucking minds? Like, that would have been actually pretty awesome. Hmm. And Crystal's already said, okay, sold. My kids are grown and I would buy this book just for the shits and grins. Shits and giggles is what I say. And then also on that thing about putting the helicopter back in the hangar, fucking special diets. Like, I know someone whose kid has a very special diet, not from allergies. Like, if it is an allergic reaction, I get it. Like, I don't want to be the person. I would never send peanuts to school because we're a peanut aware school. I would never send peanuts to school or peanut products just for the sheer reason that I don't want to be the dick parent that caused another kid to die, right? Like my rights to eat peanut butter, which I hate actually, but my kid's right to eat peanut butter does not supersede your kid's reason to stay alive. Like, I think that's a dick move if you're like upset about peanut aware schools. Like, just you're a dick if that's your point of view. But if your kids don't eat, like, if you're limiting their sugar just for the sake of limiting their sugar, not because they have an issue, and you send them over to my house. This actually happened to a friend of mine. She had a friend, one of her kids' friends, over for a play date. I also hate play dates. That phrase play date, like I just hate that. Like, that is so, like, how about just going over to someone's house to play, right? Not a play date. That just I hate that phrase. But anyway, the my friend, her one of her daughter's friends came over to play. The mom was like, "Well, we try to limit her sugar, so don't feed her anything with a lot of sugar in it." My friend, thinking she was doing a good job, gave them grapes as a snack. She had a friend call her up and say, "Hey, I thought I told you not to give her a bunch of sugar. Grapes have sugar in them. Didn't you know?" Like, fuck that. Fuck that. Um, and if you don't want them to eat what I'm serving, don't send them to my kitchen. That's basically what I'm saying. Chapter 4. It's okay to ignore them. It is totally okay to ignore them. First of all, no baby ever died of crying. That is I tell everybody that. People who have kids and they're just, I don't know what to do. No baby ever died of crying. That's probably a Cooperism right there too. Shit Koopa says, like, just, it's okay to ignore your kids. I'm not saying neglect them. I'm not saying if they're actually truly in pain. But if your kid is crying, we were a hardcore cried out family. It helps when you have a very large house and you can put your kids out of earshot. But we were a cried out family where the kid cried. I let him cry for a good 15 to 20 minutes. 99% of the time, they just went back to sleep, right? And then we also, when they didn't want to do naps, we were like, I don't care. You got to at least go lay in the bed 99% of the time for an hour. Lay in the bed for an hour and be quiet. Like, get away from me. 99% of the time they fell asleep then. And then also, we actually put child locks on the inside of so this kind that you have to kind of know how to grab and it spins around if you don't. We put them on the inside of their doors and shut their doors. So if they tried to get out at night, they could not. And it was the best thing because eventually they give up and go back to sleep. You just got to make sure that the room is secure. It's okay to drive off. Also, you can ask my kids how many times I have said, okay, I'm getting in the car and I'm leaving in 3 minutes or 2 minutes, or I'm leaving as soon as I get in the car. I just back out and pull out and drive. Half the time I drive down to the end of the street until I see them like crying in the street. And then I'm like, okay, come on. Sometimes I don't turn around. At this age, I'm kind of like, peace out, bitches. It is okay to drive off. There's actually a parenting philosophy. I took a class on it called Parenting with Love and Logic. And the premise of that, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful program. The premise of that is basically that you tell your family what you were planning to do and what you will do as an and or as an if and or whatever, and when or statement. If your clothes, I will wash on Saturday morning, I'm going to wash clothes. Any clothes that are in the laundry room by 10 o'clock, I will wash, fold, and put away. I'm not washing anything that's not in there by 10 o'clock. It's up to them. They're making choices whether or not to do that. And you do it when the consequences are low. And I'm kind of like, I don't care if you don't have any clean panties. That's not my problem. That's your problem. I don't care if you don't have a clean school shirt. Figure it out. That is actually a big phrase in our house. Figure it out. Also, it's not their homework. It's not your homework. It's theirs. That's what I'm like. I already passed the 5th grade. I'm not. This is not my homework. Now, Clara needs a little bit more help than Mason, just for other reasons. But I'm like, nope. It's not my job to remember when your test is. It's not my job to know to help. I will help you with your science project if you were doing the work. But it is not my science project. I've already done too many science projects. I do not want to go back to school. I'm done with school. I got a job now. Yes. And Same with fundraisers. I'm like, it is not my job to sell your candy bars. It is not my job to sell your Girl Scout cookies. When Claire was a Girl Scout, I was like, I mean, I'll ask around anyone who wants them, but I'm not gonna put myself out trying to do it. This is what happens though. My kids are smart. We live on a golf course. They set up and a fairly prominent street in our neighborhood across from a tennis court. Claire set up a table in the front yard for selling Girl Scout cookies. She probably sold like $400 worth of Girl Scout cookies in one day and was done. And we set them up on, she wanted credit cards. And so I helped her set it up a Venmo account. And then she, from her money, had to pay the difference. I think maybe we split the fees or something, but I'm like, not doing it. And also, they have these, I've talked about this before, they have these debit cards that we put their allowance on, and I do not tie allowance to chores or anything. We don't even call them chores. You have responsibilities in our house. Those are non-negotiable. They are not tied to money. They are tied to you living and being a contributing member of our family. And separately, not a colon, not a comma, nothing. A period, new paragraph, new chapter. You get $11 a week. They get $1 for each year of their age. $11 a week that is yours to spend on the things, candy, games, whatever you want. But you have to have that fucking card on you to be able to spend it. Like if we're at Target and you did not think ahead to bring your green light card, not my problem. Order it on Amazon. And also, your kid is not going to starve. No kids, none of our children are starving to death. If they're hungry, they'll eventually eat. So I do not make special meals for my children. I will ask them for their opinions sometimes, but most of the time I just make what I'm making and they're going to eat it or not, right? And, I don't make them even clean their plates, honestly. We serve them small portions, and I'm like, well, this is what's for dinner. I mean, you don't have to clean your plate, but you're not getting anything else. So that was that. Okay, enough on that. Let's see. People are laughing. Thank you. Um, Chapter 5. Birthday parties are more for your ego than their enjoyment. Birthday parties. Oh my God. Birthday parties for a 1-year-old. I do not understand. We did it with one of ours. The other one we did not. I do not understand the reason for it. But and put down the Pinterest. Listen, if you want to throw a big old birthday party with like hand done invitations and all that stuff because you are a crafty ass bitch, because I'm a crafty queen, so I do stuff like that. But if that is not in your wheelhouse, don't do it. Don't kill yourself. Don't should yourself to death, as I always say. Don't should yourself to death that you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And also, goodie bags, they're stupid. Why should I be giving a gift to a bunch of people for coming to my party? Why should people get a gift for my birthday? No. Goodie bags are dumb. And no one wants to watch your kid open presents for an hour. No one wants to see that. So don't make it. And then here's my final tip on birthdays. Always have them at your house. No one wants to be sober for this shit. I don't understand why people equate family friendly with alcohol free. So there's 2 events that have happened in my life that were planned by people who don't have children, which we'll get to that later. That one of them was, there is this charity bowling tournament here in Dallas for a bunch of gay charities, or actually no, I think it's for Human Rights Campaign, that it's called the Fruit Bowl. Hilarious name. It's awesome. But they decided one year, so we used to we took the kids in like pack and plays. We're drinking and stuff in the pack and play there with us. But they decided they wanted to do a family friendly version of it, which was on Sunday morning at like 11, no booze allowed. Like there was no booze allowed at this thing. And I'm like, fuck that. I drink way more now than I ever did when I didn't have kids. So, like I said, no one wants to be sober for this shit. So, Crystal's saying, my picky eater is now a chef. That is good. And Michelle wants me to be her daddy. Oh, and Judy bought the Parenting with Love and Logic book, but hasn't read it yet. I've inspired her to give it a shot. It's really good. I did a workshop, and I actually may have the flyer thing from it too. They do workshops, and a lot of PTOs and PTAs do them for free. Monica's asking, would my children still have responsibilities if COVID never happened and the housekeeper was still around? Yes, they would. It was coming hardcore down the pike that they were gonna have to do that. Plus, I was sick of paying the housekeeper to wash dishes, like clean sheets, mop a floor. I got kids who can wash a dish. Hmm. Um, let's see. Okay, this is an important one. And it's serious, but it's also like very important. Chapter 6, stranger danger is not real. Stop freaking out. So first of all, kids are safer now than they have been in the history of mankind. Like children are safer now. All the crime stats show as much. Everything says children's murders, everything, kidnappings, all this stuff is down. Like kids are not strange. It's not happening. Here's the thing though. If your kids get kidnapped, oh well, let me go back to it. The reason why people think that there's more child crimes is that we hear about every fucking one of them now. A kid gets kidnapped in Maine, we hear about it. A kid gets kidnapped in Sweden, we hear about it. A kid gets kidnapped in Oregon, we hear about it, right? So it makes it feel like it's happening more often when it's actually happening less often than it was before. Here's the other thing. If your kid's getting kidnapped and there's an Amber Alert out for your kid, 9 times out of 10, it's either you or your ex-spouse that is kidnapping your child. The non-custodial parent and or their family are almost always I mean, look at all the Amber Alerts. How many Amber Alerts are for strangers? Like you almost always know the kidnapper. Similarly, if your kid's getting molested, heaven forbid, no one wants that to happen. But if something is happening to your kid in that way, the call is coming from inside your house. It is almost always a parent, a sibling, a cousin, an uncle, a minister, or person of faith. It is someone in your trust circle that has groomed your kids, who has made your kids feel like it would be a betrayal to tell the secret to their parents. It is coming from inside the house. So it's not the strangers. It's not that. And this is the one thing I don't understand. Like I saw someone call Joe Biden a pedophile earlier today. I do not understand this obsession with pedophilia. Like it is, again, it does not happen as much as people think it does. Now the internet has made it like there are predatory things that happen, and we've had to have conversations with our kids about that. Like, be real careful. Don't ever use your real name. Don't ever tell people where you live. Only be friends with people online, like in these online games and stuff. If you actually know them in real life, like that's the key. But for the most part, stranger danger is not real. Like it is, like I said, the call's coming from inside the house. I used to, Crystal said, I used to tell my kids, if you get kidnapped, don't worry, they will bring you back. I tell mine that all the time. They just argue to death about stuff. So another important part, you're not, chapter 7, you are not raising children, you're grooming capable adults. This is what bothers me about the way some people raise their kids. They'll say, well, just let kids be kids. I agree with that to a certain extent. But at some point, you have to start making your kids do things that they need to know how to do when they're adults. For example, make sure they know how to do fucking laundry before they leave your house. Make sure they know how to boil water in a pot before they go away to college. Make sure they know how to pump gas. Make sure they know how to hang a picture frame on the wall. Here, I went to SMU. No secret there. I have so many friends who got to SMU did not know how to do shit for shit. Like did not know how to turn on a vacuum cleaner, did not know like even how to use one, did not know how to I taught so many kids how to do laundry because I've been doing laundry. Monica, how long have we been doing laundry for? I've been doing laundry since I was like I think 7th grade, maybe 8th grade. My dad was a single dad. I think it was in the 7th grade when we moved out and I started doing laundry. I actually one Christmas asked, I think the Christmas of my 8th grade year or maybe 9th grade year, asked for a dryer for Christmas because we were hanging clothes on a line. I hate line dried clothes. Hate it so much. I still to this day, if someone says air dry, line dry, I still throw it in the dryer on like the air setting. I hate the way line dried stuff feels. It's just all crusty. Also, our dogs would constantly pull it off the line. We didn't have a back fence, and so the neighbors could see. I don't know. It was just weird. So I actually asked for a dryer for Christmas. I got it. I don't think that I think I got it because my dad was kind of like, "Well, that's sad. A little 15-year-old boy, little 15-year-old homosexual asking for a dryer." But yeah, so that was that. And the other thing, and actually, I've been saying this all along, and I actually just saw Chris Rock say this exact same thing on CBS Sunday Morning this past Sunday. Tell your kids this: you can be anything in the world if you're actually good at it. Like, don't know. Not everyone is going to be an astronaut. A lot of people, I always joke, some people don't have their job simply because all the rocket scientist positions were already taken. That keep that in mind. Um, you can be anything you want in the world as long as you're actually good at it. Hmm. Sandy is saying line dry is like wearing crispy paper. I agree. You're also saying laundry balance a checkbook. So I don't actually balance a checkbook anymore. I now that there's online since online banking, I actually don't do balancing my checkbook. I just make sure that I know all the charges that are coming through and keep tabs on that and know what's going out also at some point. But yeah, I think just money management in general. And Michelle's saying, I'll hang your laundry for you if you'll empty my dishwasher. Folding clothes is the worst too. I still need to teach the kids that. I have thought about buying one of those. There's these boards that you can put the clothes on and then you flip it certain ways and it folds it for you. I've thought about doing that. Marie Kondo, though, I love the way she folds clothes. Chapter 8, and I only have 2 more chapters and then some bonus things. Chapter 8, don't let your kids be a dick. That's what I said. Don't let your kids be a dick. Your kid is not nearly as fascinating, beautiful, talented, or hip to others as you think they are. So stop forcing their genius on us. That is unique to social media, I think. Like the so many people like to post about their kids, how their kids are like really into the same music they were. Is that really cool? I don't know. Posting certain kids' accomplishment, like Mason won his school spelling bee. I think that is, if I saw somebody else post about their kid winning the school spelling bee, I'd say, yay, awesome. That is wonderful. But your kids aren't as funny as everyone else thinks they are, or everyone else doesn't think your kids as funny as you think they are. And I am fully on that. I'll post stuff more for like theater of the absurd, not so much my kid is the coolest kid. It's more like I'm raising some fucked up little humans. Like that is why I post stuff. Um, let's see. Um, and Chris will say, now I'm curious, when did you know you were homosexual? So I came out so you kind of always know. I came out the summer to myself, the summer between freshman and sophomore year of college. So I was 19. But I can remember going when I was a foreign exchange student to Germany, dreaming before that, like, oh my God, Europe, it's so progressive and awesome because you hear all these things. It's not actually that true. It's the same as here. There's very conservative people there. There's actually more racism there as there are here. They're just not as obvious about it. The Thinking, oh my God, maybe my host brother will be cute and we can get it on. Like I remember thinking stuff like that. I remember watching the Soloflex commercials when it was the Soloflex guy. I don't know when was that? Like 1985? Like I was probably 10 years old. I remember thinking, I like that. I like my mom claims that she knew I was gay when I was like 4 years old watching the Wizard of Oz and just beside myself at the end that Dorothy could not get home. Also, my favorite song as a kid was Barbara Streisand's Evergreen. I mean, how fucking gay is that, right, Mom? uh, so, also on that theme about don't let your kids be a dick. If your kid is an asshole at the park, you deal with it. Kids can be assholes, and it's okay to be like, okay, your kid's an asshole. Deal with it. And it's not their fault usually. Usually it's because the parents are thing. And my mom is agreeing. It is true. Evergreen. It's still one of my favorite songs. I love that song so much. And then the final chapter. Here's the final chapter of the book. None of us actually know shit about shit. But thanks for buying this book anyway. Range Rovers are expensive, yo. Also, you'll screw your kids up anyway, no matter how hard you try. So just relax and enjoy it. That's the final chapter. But wait, there's more. There's more. Some bonus chapters. I'll go through these real quick because we're hitting time. Babies' heads are soft for a reason. I did not make that one up. One of my friends did. Babies' heads are soft for a reason. The best parents out there are the ones with no kids. 5 easy ways to fucking ignore them. These are the bonus chapters. Yelling at other people's kids. I was once asked to be the monitor, I guess, at our school does this pumpkin patch, which is like a fall festival. And I was asked if I would be the monitor for the bounce house. And I was like, why? Why are you asking me specifically? And they're like, because everyone knows that you're not afraid to yell at other people's kids. I did not do it though. I hate bounce houses. I think they are like baby Hunger Games. It is like the craziest thing. Lord of the Flies. Another bonus chapter. It's never too early to start drinking. Wine pairings for the holidays, Christmas break, spring break, final exams. And then this one is pretty self-explanatory. Elf on the Shelf is stupid. I hate Elf on the Shelf so much. How to make your kids miserable by doing old people things. My kids hate when I do like old dances, like the Humpty Dance is the trance, do the hump. It drives them nuts, which of course, pleases me so much. And then there is one last special section just for your kids. The first part of that one is put on your goddamn shoes already. That was a battle. That is a battle that I think every family has, is getting their kids to put their fucking shoes on. I finally figured out the answer to that, at least for our family. I do not let my children eat breakfast unless they have shoes on. That was it. That changed everything. You are not allowed to eat breakfast unless your shoes are on your feet. And suddenly they had their shoes on. And here's the other one, because we had this last night, and we have a child right now who has no screen time today because of this. Do not ever, ever, ever grab the TV remote while your parents are watching something. My kids have gotten the bad habit of they just kind of wander in the room while we're watching TV, grab the remote, and try to change the channel. Crystal is saying, can I share something I used to tell my kids? Kids, Mom, which one of us is your favorite me? I hate you both equally. That is the best. Okay, I hate you both equally. I'm stealing that. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. And my mom is saying Evergreen still makes her cry. Oh, because it's a beautiful song, or because it was my favorite song. And Ted is one of the weirdos that still keeps a checking account ledger. Granted, it's on Google Numbers, but I know my balance down to the penny. Yes. Anyway. Okay. Well, that was it. Let me look at the comments real quick, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I hope that you enjoyed that. This is actually what I was going to do yesterday when Carrie was going to be on, and then she canceled, but then the world kind of canceled everything. Which, by the way, speaking of canceling, bitches are losing their jobs today. There are companies that are seeing people on those videos, and it's like, nope, done. You do not work here anymore. You do not work here anymore. I'm there for that. In West Virginia, recently, like just like last month, 2 months ago maybe, West Virginia state representative or something was one of the he live broadcast the whole fucking thing with him on it, like moron. So anyway. Alrighty. Well, that's it. Thank you. By the way, again, the backstory on this is my friend Eric Torberson. Thank you, Eric. Back in like 2015, 2016, something like that, prompted me. I was sharing some things, and he's like, you need to write a book. Everyone will buy it. It'll be great. And then we kind of went back and forth with friends of possible titles or chapter titles and sections. And so I think that you think. Jody thinks I should hold my book signing at Total Wine. I love it. Yes, I love it. And Sandy, it was a great break from yesterday's fiasco. Yes, that was my intention. I did not want to make this about yesterday anymore. We talked about it. That is done. You saw me squirt patriotism out of my eyes. By the way, sorry for the abrupt ending yesterday. I just was like overcome, and I was like, I know I'm not gonna recover from this easily, and it's the end. So bye. Right. So anyway, um, write the book and get your swag together. I know. I need to just hire one of y'all to help me with the swag thing. I thought of another saying today, but now I can't remember it because I can't remember shit for shit anymore. That's also one of my things. Alrighty. Well, with that, I love you. It is important to know you are loved, and I love you more than your president does. I love that you watched. This is just very cathartic for me. This is my therapy. I appreciate it. This and that. Cheers. I will see you. They can always hear when I'm finishing up because I hear them running for the door waiting for me now. Um, I love that you watch this. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Cooped Up Live, should I say, at 4:30. Can't wait to see it. I think we're going to do a Family Friday tomorrow. The kids have asked to be on, so maybe we'll do Family Friday. How about that? Talk to you later. Bye.